Welcome to another Happy English podcast coming to you from New York City. And here's your English teacher, Michael.
Hey, thank you, John, and thanks, everyone. This is Happy English Podcast, episode 467, using at. Part 1. I know that prepositions can be tough for a lot of English learners. That's why, starting today, I'm going to do a series of podcast lessons on them, starting with the preposition at. For today's English lesson, we're going to look at 8 different ways that we use at. In the next episode, we'll look at phrasal verbs and idioms that contain at. In the third episode in this series, we'll cover other set phrases that use at. So, let's get started. First of all, we use at to indicate a certain point. When this point is a place, it shows exactly the place where something happens or where someone or something is. We use at followed by a determiner and a noun. Here are some examples. Jack was waiting at the bus stop. I stopped at the post office to send a letter. We were at Jenny's house all afternoon. In particular, at can be followed directly by home, work, and school without a determiner. For example, many people work at home these days. I was at work yesterday. We learned a lot at school today. By the way, speaking of the word home and the preposition at, when you use the be verb, at is optional. For example, you can say, I was at home yesterday, or I was home yesterday. Next, we use at before an event. For example, I had a great time at the concert last night. I met Jack at the party last weekend. Kathy made a great presentation at the meeting today. Next, we use at before a school or company. For example, Bob works at Microsoft. Jack got his MBA at Harvard. Nick works at an auto parts factory. Next, we use at to show the direction something moves towards. For example, we were laughing at the comedian. They threw snowballs at us. My boss often yells at the staff. By the way, notice the difference between at and to with certain verbs like throw, run, shout, and so on. At indicates aggressive movement at a target, whereas to simply indicates the movement without any special nuance. For example, she threw the ball to me and I caught it. She threw the ball at me and it was painful. So here, using at shows aggressive movement towards the target. She threw the ball to me versus she threw the ball at me. Here are some other examples. He ran to me and said hello. He ran at me and knocked me down. Ouch! The boss shouted to me in the station to get my attention. The boss shouted at me when he was angry. Next, we use at to introduce a certain condition or a state. For example, he's gotten heavy and is at risk of a serious illness. Our team is at a disadvantage because we've lost our best 2 players this season. Those countries have been at war for a number of years. We also use at when we talk about a particular time. I finish work at 8 p.m. The train should arrive at 12:30. Carol is a nurse, so sometimes she works at night. And finally, we use at when we talk about numbers like age, price, weight, and so on. For example, Kate got married at 21, which is considered a young age to get married these days. At $9 per pound, those are the most expensive blueberries I've ever seen. The champion pumpkin weighed in at 40 kilograms. Well, that's our English lesson for today. If you want to read the examples in this lesson or get word-for-word transcripts of the Happy English podcast, just visit myhappyenglish.com and check lesson 467. Thanks for studying, and I'll see you next time in Happy English.
This podcast was brought to you by Happy English. Please visit myhappyenglish.com. Show your support for Happy English by leaving us a review. Get English, get happy, Happy English.